me up. No. Hello, my name is Micah Brown. I am a human person. I did not come from Mars. I'm real. This is weird, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm studying psychology and I understand that the best way to evolve and to grow is to get uncomfortable and to dissect some of that discomfort so that you can overcome it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, overcoming feeling weird. That is what I'm doing. All right, so let's get into why I'm here. So I started a podcast in February called Curious Regina. And the point of the podcast for me was to understand some of the psychology topics that I've been researching and learning about, and to better retain the information, understand what I'm learning, and so that I can be of assistance to the people that I hope to soon assist. So that is why I started the podcast, but to be more specific as to what exactly it is that I like to explore on the podcast, which is called Curious Regina, which is also what this channel is called. I like to explore curiosity and in regards to mental health and societal norms and the standards that we all accept and live by, just to kind of get curious about where some of our norms and how we fit into society, the things that influence us, to kind of dissect and reflect on where it comes from and why, so that we can better grow from it. And just to have that awareness, to build that awareness, because for me, the core of psychology and the core of a strong mental health is an awareness of yourself and an awareness of the world around you. So when we are better aware as to why we do certain things and to why other people perform and act in certain ways, whether that be the ways that we agree with and the ways that we don't, when we're more aware of it, we're also more empathetic. And when we're more empathetic, we are kinder, we are gentler with other people and ourselves. And I don't know if you've seen the world lately, but not everyone is kind or gentle or empathetic. And, I think awareness, reflection can really aid in that. And so that's all of what Curious Regina is meant to be to me and to the 5 or 6 people who listen to the podcast and who probably will watch this channel. So hope you understand. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Probably makes sense. I understood that. Yeah. So there's a new season and series of the podcast, and what this new, I chose to sit really weird in this chair. So I started a new series on the podcast, and one that is more streamlined, a lot more focused than some of the earlier episodes. And what that series is, it's called the S series, and it follows or is about 3 S's, and those 3 S's are sexuality, self-esteem, and self-love. I think that these things are really related and interconnected. I think that self-esteem is related to everything, or a lot of things. I really do truly believe that. So what is the S series? So the S series, as I said, it's about sexuality, self-esteem, and self-love. And so I think that the conversation about sexuality and sex and all the things that start with sex and end in allyization, all of that, I think that having that conversation about that, especially with the prevalence of social media and with sexual liberation and just with feminism, especially, that's what really brought it to mind for me, because I think that there's a lot of controversy about feminism as it pertains to sexualization. I think it's split for some people. It's just something that I've seen, noticed, read. So I think that that's a really important conversation to have, is just to understand what really is sexuality, and all of the things that I said start with sex. What are those things? What do they mean to us? Why do they mean it? How do we use them? How do we abuse them? How are we compliant in abuse of those terms and actions? So just really understanding what it is and why and how we view it. So that's what this series is in regards to dissecting and observing sexualization. So the connection to sexuality and self-esteem for me is that the understanding that our experiences and traumas have a lot to do with the ways that we validate ourselves and our worth and our capabilities, and that validation is intertwined with self-esteem. So that means that all of the things that we do to remind ourselves of our worth can impact or be a consequence of our self-esteem, and that includes, or the stability of our self-esteem, and that includes sex, the way that we treat sex. And I think that sometimes we don't want to talk about, as people who aren't feminists like I am, we don't always want to talk about the relationship between our use of sex and its connection to self-esteem. Obviously, it's going to be different for everyone, but it is still important to discuss. It's still a factor, it's still a thing that we can't just ignore. The last S is self love. Hopefully, having a better understanding of our use of sexuality, our use of sex, and the connection to, and having a better understanding of what self esteem is, what it looks like, how it's impacted by a lot of the things we do in our lives. Having that knowledge will hopefully give us a better understanding of how to give ourselves love.
No. Wow.
Self-love really is the final tier, which is like that, the freedom. When you give yourself the ability to love yourself, you feel free to be yourself. That's what it is. That's what the S series is all about. Sexuality, self-esteem, and self-love. And yeah, though the connection makes sense to me, but I don't know if it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, that's cool. That's fine. Let me know. So yeah, you can check out the Curious Regina podcast. All of the things that you need to know and do and check out will be in the description box. Check that out there. And you should also do all the things you do when you watch a video you like. You push the buttons, and you like the things, and you subscribe, and you comment. You don't comment, you comment. Unless you are super excited and you want to leave 2 comments. That's also fun and appreciated. And I would like it. And like I said, to the 6 of you who watch this, thank you. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'll talk about the first full episode from the series, which is on the podcast, and I talk about sexualization and objectification. So definitely check out the podcast if you want to get like a head start on what I'm gonna kind of talk about. I'll have like more visuals in the video, of course. Yeah, I hope that you come back. I hope that you liked this. And, if you did, tell someone. Tell someone, like, oh yeah. All right. Okay, that's it. All right. Take it easy.